No bye, no aloha.
Alrighty,
Yeah.
Warren misdemeanor,
Yeah.
got you on here,
What's up, brother?
dude. I'm pumped. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm pumped too. Freaking, it's funny because like we were touching on earlier, I finally get a chance to get to know guys.
Totally.
I want to let you know though too. I was gonna tell you that before we started getting into the recording and all that kind of stuff. But I'm a fan of Rats, dude.
Oh, thank you.
I like the band. I like your energy as a front guy. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Thank
right
you
off the
very
bat.
much. Clearly,
so-
obviously, fan of misdemeanor.
It'll be great for me to get to know you a little bit better.
Hell yeah.
and all that kind of
Do me a
stuff.
favor. Just try and
Get a
keep
little bit
as
closer.
close as you can. Just I want to make sure.
Bang,
Hell yeah, man. So this is the very first time we've ever really had a conversation, aside from when I said, "Hey, man, you're in a band I like. I want to have you on my podcast." And you're like, "What? That sounds cool." And you're like,
Yeah.
"I want to start a podcast too." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Hell yeah,
yeah.
let's get more 808 based podcasts going."
Oh yeah.
So,
for sure.
for sure, I want to hear what the starting of misdemeanor, and like I'm sure you were in the punk scene before the band started, but
Yeah. I was. I've probably been in the scene since the early-ish '80s, mid '80s, '83, '84.
Year I was
11,
born.
12 years old. Yeah, that's pretty.
That's
Well,
awesome.
thanks for making me feel old, man.
well, you were no, you're only 10 years older than me.
So, but I was young. What I did is I made my transition from the west side of Oahu to the east side of Oahu, where I live now. I live in Kailua now. Started off in Makaha, Miley Point, Pearl City, little stint in Kaimuki. Moved to Waikiki, 13 years old.
Jesus.
Zero parental guidance, and
Oh
just
my
got
God.
unleashed on the scene in Waikiki, and I don't know, it's kind of. I always was a loner. I always had no problem making friends. I got shipped back and forth between my mom and my dad. My mom lived in Reno on the mainland, and my dad lived here. So I spent a lot of time doing my own thing, soul searching on my own and shit. So when I got unleashed on Waikiki, it was like, and I'm country.
Yeah.
And even when I was in Reno, like we lived in Lemon Valley, way the fuck in the boonies, dude. And spent a lot of time in Truckee and Tahoe
yeah.
area.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Go snowboarding out there.
So for me to be in Waikiki was a fucking culture shock and a
It's
half.
so
it was
crazy.
it was like a trip. It was a
I don't
fucking
even
trip
like
for
to
me.
go to Waikiki, but as a country boy going into Waikiki, you're probably like,
yeah. Yeah, no, it was wild. So I met this guy, Thomas O'Connell, and another guy, Lloyd, who hopefully will end up watching this podcast. So
Nice.
I'll let him know and stuff like that. He lives in Florida now, but they kind of they were like, "Wow, bro, what's up with you? Where's your dad and all this kind of stuff?" I said, "Oh, we live in this building, and my dad, works and all that kind of shit. He's got a girlfriend and plays music. My dad's a musician."
nice.
So I just freaking ended up hanging out with them. Thomas showed me the streets. And then from 13 on, I grew up I was a street kid, street hustler. I just 2260 Kuhio Ave. Showed up there where 3D used to be, and it ended up being Tsunamis. My buddy Randy ended up running that. So I spent a lot of time over there.
Were you doing punk
and-
shows back then too?
Oh yeah, upstairs from there.
Wow.
3D man was it was a trip. I used to get thrown out like old school guys like Kurt Swanson and this other guy Carlos would catch me breaking into the AC area. I'd push the AC out of the way and jump in the window and put the AC back.
Yeah.
Grab me by the neck, throw me down the stairs.
Not a surprise to me that you were a rascal kid.
Yeah, no. And what was funny is that in 1982 was when I was introduced to punk rock for the first time. Other than that, it was like hip hop, Run DMC, African Bambaataa, Zap and Roger, all this stuff that like power funk, hip hop
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And then I got introduced to it just on a whim. I went to go visit my mom in the mainland, and we were driving to Anaheim to go visit my grandmother. I was with one of our family friends, Aaron, and he wanted to do the stopover thing real quick. We ended up at a house party right down the road from South Torrance High School, which is I think where my father graduated high school, which is really weird.
In
But,
LA?
In LA, yeah.
Yeah.
And Black Flag Descendants.
Jesus Christ.
And I was just like, what the fuck is... I was like, whoa.
so your
Hawaii
first
Boy-
fucking punk rock show is Black Flag and Descendants.
Yeah, so
That
it
is
was, and it
fucking
was a house party
ridiculous.
too. It was a house party too
Oh
on
my
top of that.
God.
So it was pretty wild. Cops broke it up afterwards. And that kind of pretty much changed my life as far as the aspect of
bet.
and I was 10 going on 11, I want to say.
That's
And then,
amazing.
yeah, it was one of those weird things where we showed up at my grandma's house, and she's like, "Oh, what took you guys so long? Where were you?" And then, oh,
Dude.
Aaron's like, "Oh, I just wanted to stop off and sleep. I was getting tired from driving from Reno, like."
Dude, that is so
So-
cool. How did you even hear, or I don't know, maybe you don't remember,
So-
but how do you even hear about a show like that?
So Aaron is a friend of one of my mom's best friend's brother. So my mom's best friend Jerry's brother is Aaron, and he was a pretty, I guess he was a big dude in the punk scene in LA. A bunch of guys knew who he was. He fucking knew everybody.
Cool.
So and he's like, "Oh, I want to show you something real quick,"
Blow
And I
your
was like,
mind,
"Oh,
kid.
this is gonna be cool," And ended up being about an hour away from his house anyway. So he just stopped off, and he knew everybody. Introduced me. He's like, "Oh, this is my freaking little rat from Hawaii," And I had like slippers on, jeans, and a white shirt. Basically what you're wearing.
Yeah.
But and then I lost my slippers, and I was walking around
Oh,
the party with
shit.
no shoes and stuff like that. And everybody's like, "Oh, how's this little kid with no shoes on and shit?" And it was just a weird experience for me. And then I got introduced, and I didn't really listen to it. I was like, wow, that when I saw Milo Ackerman belt out his, the first belting of what he had to say, I was just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? How's this nerdy
Yeah.
dude? And he's just got command over the crowd. His voice was killer, and I was just like, I was thrown back by that. So I left, and I was like, that was really, really, really cool, and it always stayed in the back of my mind. Came back to Hawaii, and then I was into the breaking and popping and all that kind of stuff, and listening to hip hop and still, and I never really listened to punk rock too much. Got into the metal, and then I got reintroduced to punk rock probably 84, late 84, 85 over here,
Mm-hmm.
and it was when we moved to Waikiki. And ended up seeing bands like SRO, MEG, Broken Man, Luau guys,
Was that
like all these,
Chris
like,
Estron's band, or
no,
he
Broken
always
Man.
tells me about
Oh,
that
Broken
band.
Man, yeah. Chris, I don't know. No, Randy was the singer for Broken Man. I don't know. I don't remember.
I think that was just like
and
the
you know what's
band
funny?
he was
Chris
super
is a
pumped
great-
on.
So we were talking earlier a little bit about how I don't really know very many people. You know what I mean? Like, I really wish that I had the chance to get to know all.
Like as
you
far
guys
as
and-
like the younger punk scene, or the
younger
current
punk, the
punk
guys that are
scene,
10
whatever.
years, younger,
Yeah.
or even younger than that, and even some of the older guys. Like me and Chris never really had a chance to talk story and hang out. We saw each other in the scene and all
Sure.
that kind of stuff. And I would, I always liked what he had to say. I liked his demeanor. He had a real positive attitude. He was very. One thing about Hawaii's punk scene to me, and the reason why I got involved in it in the first place was, I was taken to my first show. Outside of Waikiki by Jesse Perrin and Pete, and so they took me to the show, and I'm this surfer kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little competitive surfer, and did the surf scene and all that kind of stuff, and I went to the punk shows in Waikiki because they were down the street from my house, and I hung out, and I like to get into trouble, so it was kind of fun to run away from the cops and run away
Yeah.
from getting beaten up and all that kind of stuff. So they ended up taking me to the back door. And was like Macho Man, Tarisk, MUG, and I was just like, this is rad. And these guys all like took me in kind of, and were like just cool guys.
Because by
like-
this point you're like 15 or something, or
Yeah, well, no, this is like when 14. I would say 14, a year after or so, and
Yeah.
because I did only Waikiki, I only did 3D, and went to some of the Jazz Cellar.
were they
and
all
Red Lion.
ages? Those clubs?
No.
You just happened to be able to get in.
18. Oh yeah, I just was like this sneaky little guy
Right.
too. I was in the club scene a lot, and when I was like 15, 16 years old, I used to, mingle around and I was just a street hustler.
Yeah.
I've been working since I was
You knew
13
enough
years-
people. You could
I
get
worked
into
at Magoo's
clubs.
Pizza at 13 years old,
Oh,
and it was
shit.
right in front of my dad's building.
Did you
so
work
I'd
with
be down
Vonnie?
there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so, and then Vonnie, them were all guys that I knew from the scene already too.
Extra stout, shout out.
Yeah, big shout out, definitely. And,
Dude, those
you
guys
know,
are about to play a show coming up here soon. I'm
we're
so
on that show
pumped.
too. We're
Yes.
gonna be doing that show
That's-
too for less. So,
yeah.
yeah,
That's going to be, so that's actually the day before our CD release party.
right
Or excuse me,
after
CD release party.
you guys. The
Our,
final show.
it's our, what do you call it? When somebody,
Final
it's our funeral.
show. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the rat's funeral. But, we're going to kill the band for sure. But Estron,
We're gonna-
I was like, hey
we're
man,
gonna kill the
I
band.
was like, hey, I want to get you guys, his new band, which is called Devilkind Music,
Earl.
on that show.
Yeah.
Those guys are fucking
Love guys.
insane. So traditional, old school metal. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, you don't
So,
see that kind of stuff anymore.
We did. We played with them at Les's first benefit show,
Mhm.
and it was the first time that they played. And like I've known Earl for a really long time, dude. Luau guys, like from intermediate high school days, and he was in front of the family and pit crew and stuff like that. And when I used to throw shows, which is really funny because I got into Misdemeanor in '94.
Okay.
Me and my buddy Kimo started messing around and doing stuff, and then '96 we started to take it seriously. Then I was playing bass and all.
Are you the only original member?
Me and Josh are the only original members now left over. Yeah, so Kimo had left in '99, and we're gonna break off, and I went to the mainland with my wife to go to school, and hooked up with this guy Eric, who was the guitar player for Star Strangled Bastards. They needed a singer. I stepped in real quick, and we just played around in San Clemente for a little while, and then I came but 9 months. I was gone 9 months, and then I came back over here, and it was like pretty much right away. Everything kind of fell into place with playing music again. Kimo wasn't there. I ran into Tommy at a friend's house, and the whole conversation came up, and
I thought that you guys had a different drummer for a little bit. No,
we never. Huh. Well, in the very beginning, we had this guy Toolman that we wrote more like metal grooves with, kind of like.
I don't know why I thought that, but
no. Josh has always been our drummer. You might think that we have a different drummer because Josh now is a completely different human being.
I know. I just saw his Instagram the other day, and I saw that maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was.
No, and then he's always been I can't be in a punk band if Josh isn't my drummer.
Right on.
He's kind of like that we're so good together. I think we're on the same page. And we've been playing with music with each other for freaking 25 years, man.
That's crazy.
It'd be really, really hard for me to play music with anybody else. Our story as a band is kind of a trip. Me and Kimo decided to do this just because we were, wanted to have some fun, man, and just go out there and wreck shop. That's basically what we wanted to do. And I got inspired by, Mike Silva and Gabe, and then also Matt Yoshihara and Dave Vieira from Terrask and Travel Light. So they're the ones that made me become the singer of Mr. Meaner because I used to play bass.
Okay, so you weren't actually. That's what I was going to ask. Is when you were playing bass, were you singing or were you?
No, I'm not talented enough to play and sing at the same time. I can't do that shit, dude.
I don't like to do it either. Sometimes I have to, but I'd rather not.
Yeah. No, I really can't. I suck at the bass too. I can play pretty much any instrument, but I suck at all of them. But I think my forte would be, of course, writing lyrics. I've been doing it since I've been doing it since I was like 6-7 years old. So I've been doing.
You're a good frontman
like
too.
That, so.
I find like you seem really seamless on the mic, and you'll just kind of like command it. Where like anytime there's a break and the band's not playing music, I'm like, do something, because I don't have anything to say that's intelligible at all. I just am.
Yeah, no, you do well as a frontman when the music's going, though. That's the one thing. Like you have a great presence, and that's coming from a front guy. And my whole thing with the mic is I think that it's a natural thing for me to be able to talk to people, basically. And just what I started to do was realize that a lot of the stuff I said when I was younger, of course, 20 years ago or whatever, was just garbage. It was like rambling, just trying to fill space. And then I realized at some point, if you don't mind, we get into that, the changing of the violence and the craziness of the scene.
Yeah.
So we used to be violent, man, and we used to have a lot of weird shit happen at our shows. And I just was like, I kind of got sick of it, and people started to get really, really scared to come to shows in like 98,
like me.
99.
Yeah,
it was like
really,
really,
when I started going to shows at that exact era, I would walk in and be like, oh, there's a heavy vibe in here, man. Like with all the punks and the skins and there was just like, it was just like a.
So what happened? What happened to me was I was into it. Like I grew up in the. I was always. I think the reason why I got accepted by the guys in our punk scene per se, with the Brown Boys and the Skins, the Harsh Guys, Chaos, all those guys that were around way before I ever even got involved in the scene per se, they were all just so open to me. So I'm the kind of guy that if you give me just a little bit of love, I grew up on my own. If you give me a little bit of love, I'm gonna just love on you. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And I'm gonna be like that. Not like extra weird fanboy style, but like I'm gonna go the extra mile to show my loyalty. So anytime shit kicked off, I'd be like, fuck it, I'm down. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I feel like that's how Mitchell is.
Oh, dude, Mitch.
He's like one of the most loyal dudes I know.
Like,
and you and him remind me of each other.
Mitch, I love you. By the way, that Mitch is one of my favorite people that I met. Him coming from the Big Island via the mainland and all that kind of stuff. He's just a real dude.
Yep.
And so I'm like, I hope to be to Mitch what like Jesse and Pete Jordan were to me coming into.
I can tell you right now for sure you are.
And I just like those guys accepted me so much that I was like, I'm down. Shit's going nuts. I'm right there, and I think that they like that, and I kind of. As a guy that doesn't really like confrontation, kind of like confrontation, you know, I enjoy getting punched in the face every once in a while. It's all good, you know? So, but it got to a point, dude, where it was just like too much and, just so much violence and people getting scared. And I was like, this is not what I signed up for.
Sure.
This is not why I got into it. I got into it because of bands like Bad Brains and Gorilla Biscuits and Descendants, and because positive energy. And I was losing track of that as a front man and as somebody who was putting on all the shows, you know, 1739.
Oh, really? You were
Club
throwing
Mustang.
a bunch of shows?
I did, yeah.
Nice.
Like Ninja House was mine every weekend for, I want to say, 2.5 years.
Damn.
So I was in there and I brought bands.
That's a heavy load, man. I'll throw a show once every 2 months and I'm like, whoo.
I was
break.
every weekend, dude. Every Friday or Saturday or alternating Friday and Saturdays, dude. I was there.
You say 17s? Was that one of them?
1739.
Oh, I love that club.
It was Ninja House is where it was really at. Like, and then Club Mustang too as well.
Where was that one?
Waikimilo Road, right off Waikimilo Road is a little you know pool hall and / stage area, and so I did that for a while. And the reason why I did that was because of the politics that I saw in our scene. And I was just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to see the same 4 bands every weekend. I want to start giving all these other bands a chance to just play a show, man, and like have a good time.
That's so cool.
You know what I mean? And that
Hell
was
yeah.
my whole trip. So when it started to get violent and all weird is when I got kind of bummed out. And then, believe it or not, Taboo from Black Eyed Peas is what changed my whole musical journey. We're at Waimanalo Polo Field, and they stopped the show. They're like, we came to bring the rain, and everybody's like paying attention to them, and they're watching the clouds come in, and we came to bring the rain. What? Came to bring the rain. And then it started pouring rain.
No.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was tripping. And then me and Taboo, we locked eyes. And, I mean, I'm sure you've met people in your life where you know, famous or not, whatever the case may be, but you lock eyes on somebody, and then we locked eyes, and then he was like, what's up? You know? And I was baked on shrooms, dude. I was like fucking shrooming hard.
So you're really tripping.
Yeah. And I was just like, whoa. And then they got done, and De La Soul came on, and he came walking up to me. He saw me, and he came walking towards me. You know what I mean? And I was like, he's like, hey man, so how you like the show? And I was like, mean. And I gotta tell you, dude, to watch you guys do that and the energy you guys brought, like, and I explained my situation. I'm a singer in a punk band over here, and it's just been getting nuts. And he's like, man, it doesn't matter what he tells me. Puts his hand on my shoulder, gives me chicken skin, like, yeah. And he's all, doesn't matter the genre of music, man. It's all about the energy. And if you're the front man, you're responsible for all of that, you know. And then I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna take that to heart. And we had a show the following night. So it was a Friday, and then we went, and Saturday night we had a show at Ninja House, and it was a pretty heavy lineup. I think Broken Man, friend of the family, us, and this band Absolute from the mainland, and Christian Fletcher played bass in that band.
I gotta tell you have an amazing memory. I don't want to stop you, but
yeah. No, so
I can't even remember what happened last week. This is great. Sorry.
That's where my son gets it from. My 6-year-old's like that. He's like fucking elephant boy. But I took what he said to heart, and I went to the next show, and it started to kick off, and it was like that show, like where you walk in and it's like, oh, fucking heavy vibes, and people are starting to get violent, and there were like a couple sucker punches and all this, and I was like, enough of this shit.
Nice.
I like, hey, you know what, man? We need to fucking stop all this crap, man. This garbage. People don't want to come nowadays because people are getting knocked out in the middle of the street and bottles and there's blood and I mean, come on, man. We came here to have a good time. Can we all just get together and have a good time and keep it on the PMA tip? You know, like
because it's already an intimidating thing to walk into a dark punk club. It kind of stinks. It just reeks of alcohol. Yeah. And you know, when you come into that, you're 16. I mean, I was like 16, 17. You were a bit younger when you started, but. Yeah, I would come to those same era of shows and just being like, oh, and I was a total dork. Like I was wearing pajama pants, Aloha shirts, and then like
you're all semi-raver almost like.
Yeah, but like even like that was like the raver thing was just. But I was like, I definitely didn't like the raver thing, but I was like, I was like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm skateboarding.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking
growing up, man.
Just clunky and just awkward as can be.
Oh, funny.
Didn't have very many friends in high school, so I met a couple. Who did I meet? I can't even remember. I mean, for sure, like at one of the first shows I went to was with the Vandals, and it
Uh-huh.
was the Sticklers and Numbskulls open.
Oh, right on, yeah.
Then I got a hold of Dave Noodle on, I think it was, I downloaded some stuff on, what was that first one? The first,
LimeWire,
before the
Napster.
Napster.
Yeah,
So I downloaded some stuff on Napster, and the guy who I downloaded it from messages me and says, "Thanks for downloading this." And I was like, "Thanks?
yeah. Right.
What are you talking about?" And he's like,
Right.
"That's my band." And I
Oh,
was like,
right
"It was
on.
the Sticklers."
Oh, cool.
And I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, "Oh shit." And I was just like, I'm talking to the guy from the Sticklers, and he goes, "Yeah, you should come to this show, whatever. It's at our bass player's bakery." And I was like, "Okay, hell yeah." And like that right there, like, and I went there and I was like, "Oh, these are my people."
Okay, so that's where you figured out where
That's-
you were at.
I was
and-
like,
yeah.
Because before then,
that's
I was
cool.
just, I was raised Mormon,
Okay.
going to seminary before school every day because my grandma,
Oh,
my
interesting.
grandma was raising me,
Okay.
and I could never, I don't, to this day, I would never do anything to ever upset her.
right.
So I wasn't gonna rebel. I didn't
Right,
have the
right.
heart to. She
Right.
was taking care of her mother who was dying.
Right.
She already
right.
took care of all her kids. Now she's taking care of me.
Right.
So I was like, I don't have the heart to rebel.
Right.
I want to sneak out and do stuff, but I'm like, I can't do that to her. Once I found the punk show thing, I was like, oh fuck.
I think I need to rebel.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, so for me, the punk scene in Hawaii is really it's a trippy thing for me. It's something that real close to my heart. Like you were saying, I don't forget who the first people were. I remember those people that took me, like Jesse and Pete Jordan, rest in peace, and all these guys that like took me in as their own kind of like, and
Nice,
didn't just
yeah.
they're just the most non-judgmental people I've ever been. They're like, I don't give a fuck if you surf or if you're a skinhead or if you freaking are a church guy or
Yeah.
atheist, whatever the case may be. Just fucking come hang out, man. Be cool, be real. And that's as real as they were, and then like Les, Mike, and Gabe Silva, Dave Vieira, Matt Yoshihara, like all those guys, were just down ass people that embraced me open arms. So that was where I was like, these are my people. And then I reflect on that, and I think to myself sometimes, I'm like, how come I don't know you guys well enough to know
Right.
to be hey, what's up, and be like involved. Now I'm super glad that we have social media, like I have this love-hate relationship with social media,
Absolutely.
like, where I'm starting to learn to use it for what I want to use it for, and that's to be sending positive messages and contact with family and all that kind of good stuff. I pretty much scroll through all the bullshit, and so I'm glad that I get to at least see that, like, follow you on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, and then get to know everybody kind of on a very shallow level.
Yeah.
And then when we get to see each other in person, we can get a little bit deeper if the case may be. But if this was 1998 or 99, I'm pretty sure we'd be hanging out. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like I would, because I was hanging out. That's what I did as I went to
Right.
every show, and I got to know pretty much everybody, kind of. But there were a lot of strange politics in our scene back in the late 80s, 90s, and a cliquey kind of thing going on. And I've always been the type of guy that I just don't do that. I don't do drama. I just don't care for it. That's kind of why I started throwing shows, my own shows, because I was like, I'm not going to have anybody tell me who can and cannot be on our show. And if I don't want to play with that band, 6 weekends in a row, then that should be on me. And then I was just noticing all this great music from all these kid bands that were around.
Totally.
Engine 9, Exit 24, like all
See,
these,
this is getting into the era where I'm like, yep.
like I was
yep.
like these, and that's it was kind of really neat to just kind of do my own thing. And I think the reason why we never really got as a band to get to know everybody basically in the scene is kind of like because we're DIY all the
Yeah.
way. Like we've never really asked. I appreciate, dude, to the utmost everything that all the promoters have done for us. Jason, Jack, whoever the case may be,
Mhm.
myself, you, Charlie,
Oh yeah.
Mitch, you guys are all. I appreciate the fact that BAMP's having us, on their stage at the Republic is like, I appreciate all of that. But we've, as a band, have never been the guys that would kiss somebody's ass to get what we want out of
Yeah.
the scene. We're not like that, and it's not about us being too good or anything. It's just
You know
about
what I
us
think-
just being true to our laurels, And
What I think it is kind of in a way is that when you were doing it, it was nothing but when you started the band, when you got into punk rock, it wasn't cool. It absolutely wasn't cool. Now, when the Exit 20, not to downplay any of how great like Go Jimmy Go, for instance, is.
Oh yeah.
They just happened to be at the right time at the right place.
Yeah.
Ska and punk rock, when I was just graduating high school, became really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And so
Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So once that happened, I feel like that's why there was a divide of like, for me anyways, being like, well, again, like I didn't have friends telling me what to like and, oh, check this out. Like I didn't really have that many friends. Like I had like 4 or 5 friends that were super dorks. They were just into playing video games and they were into like No Limit Soldiers and blah, blah. And stuff that like I still like Nelly to this day. I went to see Nelly when he came out here. I don't give a fuck, man.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. No, that's how.
But
that's
what I did do is once I got into punk rock, I gave a big fuck. And I was like, no, I don't listen to Nelly. No, I don't listen to Backstreet Boys. No, I don't listen to this or that or the other thing.
But
never.
Do you catch yourself laughing about that now?
Of course, because now I'm like, I'll grab my acoustic guitar and play you a Backstreet Boys song. I don't give a fuck.
I write
man.
house music,
That's
dude.
catchy
Like,
shit.
I write house music, man, and
There you
I
go.
do a lot of hip hop stuff too.
But
like,
see, you don't strike me as the type that went through that thing like I did, where like you probably are just like, I don't give a fuck. I listen to hip hop.
Yeah,
Where like
yeah.
when I got into punk rock,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
threw away
Right.
a book of 100 CDs. Korn, Limp Bizkit,
no.
Slipknot. I said,
No.
no, that shit's lame.
Oh,
I
funny.
can't like that. I can't
Oh,
be
that's funny.
caught.
right.
I was very,
Yeah, yeah.
I was very affected at that
So
age.
that's kind of cool that you mentioned that too, because I think that's what I think that's kind of what happened. Like we've been around for a lifetime per se of
Yeah.
we got a lot of people coming to our shows that weren't even born yet. When
Exactly.
we first started out.
Exactly.
So
Their entire lifetime, no doubt.
I think what happened is that a lot of people got into bands because it was the cool thing to do, and they weren't really about the music per se, or they were about getting the attention or whatever.
Yep.
And so
For sure.
I'm kind of an asshole for doing this, but I call guys out all the time for like the whole competition in music scene. That's why we will never ever do a battle of the bands.
Oh.
And I'm not
No, dude.
not
I
about
fucking
that.
back that so
So
hard.
I'm not about competition in music. It's a journey. It's not a competition. We're all together on the ride. So I've been at a club before where I hear a couple of the guys talking story and we're gonna go out there and smash that band and this and that, and I'm just like, and I'll be like guy that'll come on and be like at the show and be like, oh, this goes out to all you fucking guys that think music's a competition. This song's called Judgment, and the chorus in that one. If you guys
Dude.
haven't heard that song, fuck you. Basically, that's pretty much my middle finger to guys that think that music is competition or
Why should it be?
or a coolness battle or and I understand that Battle of the Bands is supposed to be fun and it's like and I get all that, but when you start to make it a competition, that's why I'm not into like the Nahoku Awards,
Oh,
the
right.
Grammys,
Yeah.
rewards for doing music.
Yeah, telling one band they're better than
I'm gonna
another.
tell you right now that my biggest reward that I've ever gotten out of playing music could be described in exactly how my last practice went on Wednesday night. And it's I had an unfortunate incident happen to me. I got smashed in the back of the head with a brick, and I'll cut that story right there.
Yeah.
But I got 5 staples in my head.
And
so
a
I
lot
was
of people are going to be like, wait, we want to hear that.
no,
story,
you guys.
but-
It was just a.
But yeah, carry on.
It was a situation that I put myself into. Lesson learned, all that kind of stuff. I got to let stuff go, and if it's not adversely affecting my safety or my family's or friends' safety, then I just need to push it aside.
Heard that.
Anyway,
Yep.
so I got smashed, and I was in the hospital, and I was like, "Fuck, man!" And I was like, "Shit, we got this fucking show coming out. We got like 3 shows coming up in the next
Nice.
month or so, And I'm like, "Fucking." I could have, it could have been way worse. And then I've got this pounding headache, and I gotta go scream. And then I went in,
Which already hurts your head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when Wednesday came around, I got in there, and we practiced. We practiced really well. Put a bunch of stuff together, and then I was like, right, the collective sigh of really, okay, I can. That's why I do music. Because of the way that it makes me feel, whether I'm playing in front of 5 people or 5 million
Mhm.
people, it doesn't matter to me. It's just a release for me. The endorphins go, the natural high that I get from just performing and then the challenge of being able to remember the lyrics and write lyrics and all that kind of good stuff, and to be in a unit with the 4 other people that mean the most to me besides my family. That's the whole reason why I do it. We have a kinship, we have a family in our band. We don't hang out outside of the band very much at all. Every once in a while, like me and Tommy have a lot of mutual family friends, so we hang out. Me and Rob, we have some things in common. I support Rob in everything that he does. I love him like a little brother, so we'll hang out every once in a while. Vercelli, we hang out at band practice. Hopefully we get to start hanging out because he's a new addition, to us too, which is a really neat story too. On top of that,
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
Touch on that in a little while, but and then me and Josh, we hang out when we can. We used to hang out a lot more, but we don't as much anymore. And it's not a bad thing.
I think that's just the story of getting older. I mean, it's the same thing with me and Josh.
Yeah.
We used to hang out every fucking day. We worked together.
That's what I liked about your guys' podcast. Is you touched on that, and it's like people get busy. Like Josh, he has kids. I have 5 kids, dude.
Jesus.
And and there's a reason why I'm here tonight too. You asked me to come, and I was like pumped. I'm all super stoked. Any way that I can throw support your way, any way that I can throw support in everybody's direction, I'm gonna come and do what I can.
I was so pumped how pumped you were to do it. I was like, it stoked me out so hard.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you were like, because I was ready. I was like, I'm gonna start a podcast, and I started talking to people, and I was just bracing myself for people to hate on me.
Yeah.
Like, what? You're gonna do that? That sounds lame.
Everybody's doing a podcast nowadays.
And I was like, and just the reception was so good. I was like, fuck. Okay, cool. Like, I'm definitely okay. Yeah, I'm really gonna do this. And people are saying yes. They'll come and do it. Like, they'll come over to my house and sit down and talk to me for a little bit.
Sorry, bro.
No.
Can you grab some ice for me? Thank you.
We got a bartender in the house.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
John Ness from O'Toole is bartending for us.
Yeah, so Josh, dude, is our drummer. Like I said, he's on a new journey in life too. We're all like blue collar guys. We work for ourselves. We just do Josh has 3 kids. Tommy's about to have a kid. Rob's got a daughter. Vercelli's got a son. We got. The reason why I'm able to be here is because of my support system. My wife is a phenomenal person. She's, and
taking care of the 5 kids.
She's supported me from day. She knew me. I met her, of course, way after I started the band and playing music. So she met me in the middle of playing music, and I was like, when I first laid eyes on her, I'm a manifestation kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I people don't believe me sometimes when I say stuff like this. But I believe in manifestation so much that my life is a perfect example of how manifestation works, and truly works. Everything that's happened from, I want to say, my early 20s till now has been manifested in one way or another, with my job, with my relationship, with the kids. The number was 5, right? So I had 4 of my own biologically, and then my wife made me get the snip. She's like, no more.
Oh shit.
And then her sister had a daughter, and she wasn't able to take care of her, so therefore my wife brought her into our family.
And you had that number 5 set up.
And there's the 5th kid, right? So that was my number, and I can't have my own. So now we have 5 kids, right?
Yep.
So and then seeing her on the beach, I was like, she's gonna have my babies, and it happened, And Bud McPherson knows that, bro. Sagittarius and meat curtains, but.
Dude.
But yeah, dude, it's and I believe in it. So, everybody out there, pay attention when people talk about manifestation, when people talk about doing things for the greater good and making stuff happen. Believe in that, because you speak it, you believe it, it becomes true, and then you work on that, right? Because we're all works in progress, I think. So everybody works on their manifestation as it starts to happen. They start to realize it's happening, and they're like, whoa, what the fuck?
I think there's a couple things to that.
Yes.
Okay. So I think that there's that saying, which is kind of hokey, but whether you believe you can or you believe you can't,
either way, you're right.
You're right.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy when people go, no, that's not true. I can't do that. And I'm like, it's because you believe you can't do that.
That's
you know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You're being so fucking negative, and it drives me crazy to be around people that are so negative.
Yeah.
But I'm very susceptible, and I'll go through these. So one of the reasons why Rats is kind of breaking up is because I'm too happy now. And every Rat song is super fucking negative. It's all 666, upside down crosses.
Oh, is it really?
Negative. Just it's super party heavy,
Right.
and it sounds like they're having a fun time. But if you actually listen to the lyrics, it's just I'm in a dark place for like these 4
Oh,
years.
really?
That
Right,
was a
right.
4-year
Oh,
run,
really?
and I was in a dark
Wow.
place
Okay.
because I believed that I was in a dark place.
Right.
So I'm with you on that.
right.
I'm not like all like The Secret. Like I've watched The Secret. I don't know.
I don't even know what that is.
It's you can look into it if you want to or not.
Mhm.
I don't think you need to. It's basically like what I'm always like this hocus pocus stuff. Like I'm like
right.
everything is completely random chance. Things happen things just happen.
Right.
But what's cool is the human brain loves to put a lot of emphasis on coincidences. So
Yeah.
if something happens for you and it happens for you and it happens for you, what you're doing is you're disregarding all the things that didn't work,
Right.
but you're focusing on the positive. And I still think that that's a good thing.
Right.
You're giving energy towards believing
Right.
in something positive.
Right.
That's a good thing to do.
See, one thing that I see a lot of people, I think in general, get misconstrued in the manifestation process is that they think that they can just sit down and think about it and it's gonna happen.
Right.
I'm just gonna think about it.
No, you got to work for it too.
You have to put a plan in motion. You have
Yep.
to make sure that you're physically doing what it is that you know,
Which is the
or
cool thing about
doing
it.
the steps in order to get to that manifestation. And that's where I hope that people start to figure out you can't just sit there and be like, oh, I wish I had $1 million. I want $1 million. If you want $1 million, you need to set up a plan of attack and start going through the motions.
You
and
got to
take
have
the
some
steps
goals
in order to get there. Yeah.
You got to have some goals.
So manifestation isn't just sitting there wishing on your ass going, it's more like, this is what's going to happen. I want this to happen. What are the
It's
steps
not
that I
passive,
need to?
it's active.
Yes, yeah, very
Yeah.
much so. Very
you
much
have
so.
to be in that process.
It's what's funny is I just touched on that whole your lyrics are negative and all that kind of stuff because it sounds like you guys are having a blast. That's what I like about you guys. You guys come out and it looks like just a raging good time. And you guys are like, yeah.
I'm having the best time of my life. Every time Rats plays, it's my favorite band I've ever been in by far.
Right. So what bands have you been in?
Oh Jesus. The first band I was in was Black Square.
Okay.
Started in 2002.
Okay.
Me, Josh, Brian Kim, and this dude Mike Hergenrader.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Josh and Brian Kim still original members of that band. That band did that band for about 7 years. In the process, started this band called TV Hairdo. Kind of was on that like late 90s emo kick,
Right.
pop punky, whatever. Did a band called The Hit where first band I played drums for. I always wanted to play drums.
Right.
I was terrible. Still not that great at drums,
yeah.
but I love to play them.
Well, me either.
And then somewhere along the line, El Camino started, which has been my longest running band to date. It's like,
Right.
I think we're like at 15 years ish,
Right.
but, that band was kind of a funny story. 'Cause my girlfriend at the time, she goes, oh yeah, I've been borrowing all these rockabilly CDs
Mhm.
from this guy Mike. Now I thought it was this other Mike, and she was like also borrowing. She was borrowing a lot of rockabilly CDs and a lot of hardcore CDs.
Right.
So after I did that, like that kind of emo-y punk thing, I was like, I actually want to do like a hardcore band.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So Rats is the band I was trying to start way back then.
Oh, funny.
But what happened was there was 2 mics,
Mhm.
and I went to the wrong mic.
Oh, funny.
And I said, hey, I heard you're into hardcore, and you were in this other band.
Mhm.
Would you want to start a band with me? And he's like, yeah, I'd be down to start a band with
But
you.
I think you got the wrong mic, dude.
But he just said yes. He just said
funny.
yes.
Oh, classic.
So we end up going to jam, and he's all like, well, he's like, you wanted to start a hardcore band. He's like, I'm not that into hardcore. And I'm like, you're not? I was like, I thought you were loaning my girlfriend all these hardcore records. And he's like, no, that's not me. And I
Oh,
was
funny.
like, okay. So that's when El Camino started, and it became this
Oh, funny.
like
Yeah,
rockabilly psycho
Yeah,
thing. And but I had no idea what psychobilly was at
Right.
that time in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew what punk was.
The Reverend Horton.
Yeah, I had no idea that was a thing.
Right.
So in my mind, I was like, we're doing something super original. We're taking punk and rockabilly and we're forcing them together.
Yeah.
And then very quickly I realized like, oh, that's already a thing. Like
Right. Right.
But we organically created psychobilly in our own way. We just realized later that it was a thing. But
right.
yeah, so that's the band I've been in the
Oh, that's cool.
longest. And then I don't know. Oh, I was in this band called Left Alone that I joined that lived in LA. They're on Hellcat Records, which I got like super pumped on and got to tour a whole bunch.
Oh, right on.
So that band was really fun for me, because it was like all my dreams.
Right.
All my
On
dreams
the
from
road
when I
and
was a
shit.
kid.
Yeah, yeah.
My first dream was I just want to be as big as the Sticklers and the Numbskulls.
Oh, that's epic.
That would be great to pack a pink Cadillac.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And then, I got there with El Caminos and I was like, fuck, that's cool. And I was like, I got that goal. I made the fuck out of that shit.
Right.
Like, my next goal, I want to go on tour.
Right.
Did it. And then I
Right.
was like, fuck, I keep hitting these goals, man. I
Yeah.
can manifest some shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I want to be on the biggest record label I can think of in the punk genre.
Right.
I want to be on Hellcat Records.
Right.
And then another year forward, and I joined a band.
Right.
It wasn't my band,
Right.
but I
right.
joined a band that's
Right.
on Hellcat Records, and I was like, oh my God.
Well,
And
that's
then I go,
manifestation at its freaking finest right there.
and I was pumped. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I toured the fucking world. Well, not the whole world, but I mean, I got to go to Japan, U.S. countless times,
Sick.
Mexico, Canada.
That's what we
All over
want. We
Europe.
want to do Japan super bad. Our
Yeah.
band wants to do Japan.
I'll tell you what.
I would love to do Japan.
I don't know if you've toured the U.S.
Oh,
Don't
yeah,
bother.
Yeah, no. We've did
Japan.
I could tell you tour stories of misdemeanor, bro. You would.
When did you
fucking
guys go
trip.
on tour?
We went on tour in 90, 98, 99, and we did our Warped Tour stop. Dude,
Yeah?
bro, we destroyed California, bro.
Nice.
Basically, like broke everything that we came in contact
really?
with. It was fucking heavy, dude. Like we came in hot. Hawaiian style, like straight up Hawaiian style. People were tripping. They're like,
It's
"What
such
the
a shame
fuck?"
that Hawaii is so different from everywhere else. You can't just jump in a van,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But just to start your tour on the cheapest side of things,
Yeah,
as
you're
let's
fucking-
say you're a
With
three-piece
five
band.
dudes, you're looking at fucking 20 grand, dude. Like it's nuts.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The amount of you have to
So
have
we're looking
equipment.
for sponsors, by the way.
Yeah.
Anybody want to sponsor our tour to Japan? Let's go.
Hell yeah, dude. I have friends in Japan that are in
Yeah.
a cool
Oh,
punk
we do.
band.
I do too. I actually have some friends that are that live over there and they do entertainment. They do,
I'm gonna be out there in a month.
promotions and all that stuff,
I'll talk to my buddies. If you guys are serious about doing it,
Oh, we totally want to go there. I just got to get my my passport and shit in order. 'Cause I'm a bad boy,
I just ordered mine.
so I gotta go clear up some shit with the state before I can go anywhere. But yeah, dude.
Yeah, touring
Freaking-
outside of the U.S. is
Oh,
where
dude, I would.
it's
I'd like to do the East Coast though too. I'd like to do some Philly or some
well, for your guys'
Pennsylvania.
style, that would make a lot of
and-
sense. Yeah.
and some hard. Fuck, it's so weird. It's so weird, dude. Like to speak on playing music, and it's kind of cool that because you've been around for long enough to know who we are. We to take the words out of Milo's mouth. We couldn't sell at a telephone booth. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we've been around 25 years, but if we were like headlining a show at and we're not gonna pack the place. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
not gonna
especially
happen.
the way that the scene is now, I feel like. So obviously you remember, but when I first started going to shows would start at what, like 5, 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Be over by 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, now the venue is going to do the thing that they're actually making money on. Now they're going to have the actual bar patrons come in, not a bunch of kids.
Right.
And if that wasn't the case, if it was this heavy 21 and over
Yeah.
scene that it is now,
Yeah.
I don't know how I would have turned out.
How are we gonna get I would love to have I like all ages venues. I
Right.
like playing in front of all the kids too, because that's when I got affected by our type of music.
Same
you know?
here.
And what's funny is that I listen to more of every other type of music than punk rock, honestly.
Me too at this point.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I really do. I listen to a lot of like I was saying, house music. I listen to a lot of hip hop. I listen to a lot of like old school hip hop, UTFO, Run D. It's
Mhm.
funny, dude. And
What's the last couple things you played on your what'd you listen to on the drive over?
actually I was listening to Eddie Grant and Men at Work.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
On the drive over from Chinatown, I had Run the Jewels on.
Oh, funny.
You listen to them at all?
No.
Really cool.
no.
Especially if
A
you like
little
old
bit,
school
but
hip hop.
Yeah.
They're
Little bit, but not too
they're super intelligent
Yeah.
and it feels old school, but it has its new school twist to it.
Right.
Yeah, you might love it. You might love it.
Yeah.
They're really cool.
Yeah. I like checking out whatever, man. Anytime somebody suggests something to me, I'm like, I'm into it. I dig pretty much every genre of music. I grew up with every genre of music, and it's funny the moods that I go through. I went through a stage probably, and I want to say 88, 89, where I listened to dancehall only for literally 18 months straight. I listened to nothing but dancehall. Like literally nothing.
I feel like in
but
Hawaii
dancehall.
that kind of stuff was way more prevalent.
Well, dancehall was actually really, really huge in the late 80s, early 90s. It was huge all
Just
over
like
the world.
across the world.
Yeah, all over the world. Like everybody, even in Europe and stuff like that, everybody was into dancehall. But I got turned on to it, and I just liked it reminded me of like even, dancehall's urban. I mean, hip hop's urban, but it reminded me of like extra urban hip hop, with that chatty freaking patois style.
Yeah.
I really dug that stuff a lot, and the like the beats, the sling tang beat, and all that kind of stuff, the rhythms, and I was just like, dude, this is the shit, man. And I had a fucking killer stereo system in my car, so I was like, boom, 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 boom,
Love it.
And now I'm all laughing because I'm getting old now. I hear cars go by with that booming bass. I'm like, oh,
Right. I remember when that was a thing, and my shitty, it must have been 2002. Because I just started hanging out in Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like right before Black Square started. Like one night we go to a punk show at Otto's Bakery. I'm sure you guys played there, right? Or
We've never done autos, no.
Whoa,
No.
okay. Because there was a lot of divide in the scene too.
People hate me, dude. I'm telling you, people hate me, dude. Like
I don't
and
understand
know,
it.
No,
I'm
it's
glad I
fine.
met you now.
I just say that now because I think that to touch back on the old scene and stuff like that, I'm misunderstood. I want to say, in a sense, because the way that I look,
Okay.
I look and then I come out and say, where you were saying that the Rats, that Rats is like, sounds like a good time, but it was real dark fucking lyrics. If you listen to our stuff, it sounds fucking angry,
Yeah.
like hard angry.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the lyrics,
You got some PMA vibes going.
it's all about
That's so true.
positive,
yeah.
dude. It's
I
all
definitely,
about that, so.
I mean, the very first Misdemeanor show, I couldn't put my finger on it,
Mhm.
but for sure, the first show I went to and saw you guys, I was like, oh God.
Yeah. Just like whoa.
I would never, and you were like, oh, if this is 96, we'd just be hanging out. But no, because I would never, ever have gone up to you and been like, hey,
Can we
what's
hang
up,
out?
man? Good
Yeah.
show. I wouldn't even go up and say good show. I'd just be like, I'd go say good show to you and you'd just crack me in the face. Like that was
Yeah.
my impression. 'Cause
Yeah, and
you're-
that was my
dude. You're
that's-
so
and
intense. You know what I
that's-
mean?
And that's why is I'm passionate, dude. That's
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm like that with everything that I do in my life, work, play, love, music, whatever is
Cranked
I
all the
don't-
way up.
I don't know how to do halfway.
Yeah.
I don't do halfway cook. I go 100%, man. When I'm in the moment, I'm in the moment, and that's why nowadays I really appreciate when people come up, like when we were playing on Wednesday, you came up to me and you're like, hey, I was doing this. I'm pumped, dude, that
Hell
you
yeah.
did that because I spent so many years of my life wishing that someone would just come up and be like, hey, what's up? Because I have a lot of positive things to say, and I like feeling the love, and I like giving the love too.
Hell yeah.
So speaking of that, we played 1999 Club Mustang was our last show for a minute, and this kid Danton came up to me, and after the show, and he was just like, man, I don't want to sound all gay and shit or whatever, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, but what's up? And
It was the 90s. People said that a lot.
Yeah, he's just like, you saved my life, dude. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, because every time I'm down, dude, I just get up. And I was just like, and I fucking literally had to like choke back tears. I'm an emotional dude too. That's why, you know what I mean?
Well, that's part of the when everything is turned to 100.
yeah,
That's part of it.
And
yeah.
so, and then all I wanted to do through either music or poetry was to touch someone's life in a positive way. Literally, that's all I want to do. That's why I was talking about doing a podcast and stuff like that, and finding common ground within people that are misunderstood per se.
I hope you do.
A lot of people never even gave me the chance to, or never got the chance, or gave me the chance, never took the chance, basically, to get to know me, because I'll sit down and talk with anybody, dude. And I'd like to say I'm a fairly friendly person.
Absolutely.
And I spent a lot of that, the early 2000s and late 90s, I'm not gonna approach that dude. He looks gnarly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have no, if I had a fucking dollar for every time I met somebody and then they got to know me and then said, "You're totally not the guy I thought you were when I first saw you,"
100%.
I would be filthy fucking rich.
100%.
Right? Yeah. So and I kind of like that in a sense because it actually shows me that the people that are willing to take the time to get to know me are worth giving the time to.
Hell yeah.
Because they look past that already. You know what I mean?
You know, I never approached you first. Because I wouldn't say I was still intimidated by the time we'd like played a bunch of shows together. I was like, these guys are cool guys, but we just never talked.
Right.
And then one time you came up and you're like, yo, dude, you said something about like you just gave me a compliment about rats, and I was like, oh fuck, thanks.
Oh,
Because
dude,
as you were
wearing your black silkies and you're fucking going nuts, and I was like, fuck yeah, dude, you guys are badass. I was all fucking stoked.
So
dude.
the thing is like as you were saying earlier, you said something about like I don't remember what you said word for word, but basically about like not doing the band for anybody else, just having fun.
Yeah.
And like really, there was a couple compliments that I got, and it was the only ones that really stick out was Chris Esteron. He was like, "You're my favorite local band," and I was like,
right.
Fuck, you've been around, man.
Yeah.
And then you saying just earlier, you're like, "Hey, I just want to say, like, I'm a fan of the band." I'm like, that's it. That's all I
Yeah,
needed. I
that's
just
rad.
those two compliments to
That's
me,
rad.
like
Yeah.
coming from you, I'm
wow,
like,
Chris, I'm
fuck.
not your favorite fucking band, dude. Fuck.
oh,
No,
sorry to
I'm
break it
just-
to you. No competitions though. No
that's
competitions.
the whole thing, dude. I'm like
No.
stoked. I'm all stoked. Like, dude, Chris. Speaking of Chris, is Chris Larson.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's come up to me a million times, and I freaking love that kid, dude.
He's
like,
such a nut.
and he's crazy as fuck.
Yeah,
dude.
he's a nut.
He's crazy.
I
bro.
love him.
But he's real as fucking, and he's the guy
Oh,
that wears
yeah.
his heart on his sleeve too, dude.
Big
and
time.
he came up to me and he's like tearing up, you know, like, and he knew Ernie a lot, you know,
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot better. So, for those of you out there in computer land or whatever, and you know, Ernie, our original bass player, or our second bass player other than me, passed away 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was more involved in the scene as a spokesperson per se for our band than any of us were combined, basically, because he was out in Chinatown every night and he lived right down the road from.
I
here,
always
you know what I mean?
remember
So-
seeing him riding around in his moped with his bass in like a bag.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I remember from just old, like back in the day, Pink Cadillac shows, just seeing him around and being like, "Oh yeah, that's the dude from Misdemeanor."
Yeah.
Like, look at him, he's
And
just
what's
doing his
funny
thing.
about the way Ernie entered our band was like Dave Vieira and Matt were like, "You have to be the singer." So I had my dad come in and play bass.
No way.
Yeah, my dad helped us write like 7 songs. He came
That's
in to
sick.
practice a couple times, and I'm pretty quick with the lyricism. Like the music comes and the lyrics are there right away. So he came in and we wrote like 7 songs real quick, and he's like, "There's no fucking way I'm gonna play a live show with you guys." So just to let you guys know, I'm not gonna be the fucking 60-year-old dude up there fucking
That's
play with
so
you young
funny.
kids. And then a practice had ended, and we went down to G-Dock at the All White Boat Harbor, and Ernie was down there at a G-Dock party, and we were hanging out, and he came up to me, he's like, "Hey, so what, man? Fucking, I heard you're looking for a guitar player." And I was like, "Well, who the fuck are you?" I was like, "What are you talking about, bro?
You
Who
didn't
the
even
fuck are
know
you?"
him.
Yeah, totally. And he's like, "Yeah, freaking Greg, Ollie said you guys are looking for a guitar player." I go, "No, dude, if we're looking for anything, it'd be a bass player." And he's like, "Well, fuck, I'll learn how to play the bass."
Sick.
And I was like, "Are you serious?" And he goes, "Fuck yeah." He's like, "Monday, Wednesday at the studio."
Where'd you
come
guys
down."
used to practice at back in the day?
We call it the Crackhead Studios.
Tunji's?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Tunji's, yeah.
Yeah.
But before that, it was Rich Deddy and Robert Kim, who I actually just ran into in Waikiki a few weeks ago, which is really fucking neat, dude. It was a really, really, really weird trip to run into them after being out all night. And then it was just like, Rich came up to me, he's like, "Mr. Meaner," behind me, and I was like, turned around, I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Richard Deddy," and he goes, "You fucking remember my name?" And I was like,
Sick.
I got a good memory. You know
Yeah,
what I
you
mean?
do,
And
man.
then,
You really do. It's
he's
blown
all,
me
"Guess who
away.
I?" So he goes like this to me, "Guess who I have with me over at the bar?" And I'm all, "Robert Kim." And he goes, "How the fuck did you know?" And I go, "No fucking way." And I turn around and
Jeez.
it's him. And I was like, "God damn, what a fucking trip down memory
That's so
lane that
cool.
was." Yeah, it was really, really cool. So we practiced down there, and then Ernie showed up, and it was on like Donkey Kong, man. He just came in and he played the bass like a lead guitar player, kind of in a sense. He wasn't really a bass
He
player.
did
you
have
know what I
that
mean?
kind of vibe on the bass.
And then, so when he passed away, we were devastated, of course. You know what I mean? Because
course.
my band to me is literally like family, dude. Like I would do anything for the members in my band. I would literally do anything for them. You know, they call me, I'm there right away. My loyalty to them has been proven time and time again, and they know. You know what I mean? My whole family knows. My family is their family. Their family is our family. You know what I mean? So he passed away, and I was like, fuck, man, that's it, bro. That's the end of an era. We're
Right.
done, bro. I'm gonna go do my hip hop shit now.
Yeah.
Right? So
And nobody could hate on you if you did that. It'd
no,
just be
nobody
like,
would, because I know all the guys in the hip hop scene too and stuff like that. I think everybody give me a little bit of love anyway. And I'm not to sound like a narcissistic asshole, but when it comes to lyricism, I can fucking
Yeah, that's your thing.
I can throw it down, bro, pretty good. So he, you know, I was just like, fuck, man. And literally the next day, Rob hit me up, and he's like, you know, I know it's kind of early, but I wanted to let you know that if you guys do decide that you want to keep going with this and stuff like that, I would fill in, you know. And
that's
and
so
I was
cool
like,
that he did that.
and I was like, yeah, I was like, you know, like,
Yeah.
whoa, I got to run it by Josh. You know what I mean? Because Josh is the guy, and you know, I have so much respect and love for Josh that you know I always take into consideration what he's saying and what his opinion might happen to be, and so I called him up. I said, "Hey, Rob, fucking hit me up." And Josh, when he was a drunk guy, dude, he hated Rob. You know, or not.
Oh,
hated
really?
him, but yeah,
Oh, shit.
didn't hate him, but he was like,
Sometimes
"Fucking
those
Rob,
make the
rah."
best friendships, though.
You know, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
know it was really cool, and I was like, dude, you give him a chance, you know, blah blah blah, this and that, and then he got sober, and then he's starting to still trying to learn himself, you know, and all that kind of stuff, and then I brought that up to him, and he's like, fucking yeah, totally, I'm down.
Sick.
And I was like, what?
Just like that.
I was like, yeah, dude.
Not even
without
a thought.
not even hesitated. There's no hesitation.
Wow.
He was like, yeah, I'm down for that. And I was like, whoa, really? And he goes,
And Rob's
yeah.
a ripper, too.
So I was like, oh, dude, I got a lot of respect for Rob. So I got Rob into fucking playing music professionally because he used to work for me.
Oh, no way.
And
Doing what?
I'm a stonemason.
Okay.
And I fucking tile swimming pools and decks and all that kind of shit. My job's no fucking around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I go to work and it's just work, dude. And I'm a fucking weirdo like that. Like, it's work time, bro.
Oh,
Yeah. When work starts, friendship
Definitely catch
ends,
that
dude.
vibe.
I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking, we're
You'd
working,
be like, we
bro.
could be boys, but I'm going to fucking scream at you.
Yeah, I'm old school, like in that sense. You know what I mean? And so I fucking I told him one day, I said, you know, you keep talking about music. You want to fucking play music for a living, dude? And he's like, oh, I would love to do that. I'm all, you know what? Fucking take lunch, but right now I'm gonna get on the phone. I got on the phone, made a couple phone calls, fucking got him a gig. Now he's fucking doing it all over the place.
That's sick.
And now
man.
he's doing that, and I fired him that day. I was like, "You're fired."
Oh, that's
Tomorrow.
hilarious.
You gotta go fucking play.
Yeah.
music." So yeah, and then so that was our whole thing. And then the thing with Vercelli, I know we're running out of time and stuff like that, but
Don't worry about that.
the thing with Vercelli was I've known him for a while, but I never knew him, right? And,
Right.
So he's friends with Simon and Jay Adams.
Black
real
Flag, or
And
excuse me, Black
Black
Flies.
Flies, yeah.
Black Flag.
good. Yeah.
Shout
But,
out Black Flies.
Yeah, so Simon, dude, is another. I got to give a shout out to Simon, dude,
Absolutely.
because fucking Simon's been he's been a supporter of me. He's one of those dudes that got a phone call, you know. I don't even know. He didn't even get a phone. I don't even know how the fuck he found out I was in jail, but he came and bailed me out.
God.
I was like, I don't even know how he found out I got in jail, but he fucking came and bailed me
Showed
out,
up.
dude.
That's
Out of
what's
all
up.
the fucking guys that I know and people that would bail me out, for him to come bail me out meant a lot. That showed me that he had a certain level of reverence for me, I guess, you know.
Oh yeah.
And like I said before, when you give me that little bit, I'm gonna fucking just like love on you. You know what I mean? So I give a big shout out to Simon. He's been a great supporter. Anyway, Vercelli's known Simon for a long time, and he knew Jay Adams. And Jay Adams to me was like he was like kind of like the older brother to me. Just recently, a lot. It was just really strange. I've been getting the people come up to me and say that I remind them of like Henry Rollins or Jay Adams. You know what I mean? It's kind of a trip to get told that you're reminded of people that you kind of look up to, or have a reverence for. Or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mike Plan had left Antimatter, and I went immediately and I hit Vercelli up. I was like, dude, you're gonna fucking come play with us now, brah. And because it's something that I've been entertaining for a long time. A long time ago in '97, we had this guy Chris come and play guitar for us. We had 2 guitar players, and it was pretty cool. He took off and went to school and all that kind of stuff. But I'd been entertaining the idea forever to have 2 guitars in there.
Yeah.
One kind of like a light tone, one dark, deep tone like Tommy's.
For sure.
And so I hit him up, and I'm like, dude, what's up, man? And he's like, "Oh, nah, bro, I'm gonna stick it out with the boys, antimatter. We're gonna try out another singer and all that kind of stuff." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then Chris came in,
Oh, okay.
and so
okay.
Mike had left, and then
Larson.
no, Mike Plan.
But
He was-
Larson sang for them for like
Yeah, for a second, right after
couple
that.
of
Yeah.
shows.
So
Yeah.
that was right after. So they ended up getting Chris, another Chris, not Larson.
Oh,
but
right,
the
right.
singer
Yeah.
they have now.
current. Yeah.
And I knew Chris from working with him. I worked on a couple of jobs with him, and I dig the guy a lot, bro. I was all stoked. So I was like, oh, okay, they got it going on.
I need to get him on here.
And then he'd be a good guy to talk to. He's got a good history in the punk scene and stuff like that too. And he's got he's a good conversationalist too. I think he'd be a good guest for you. But so he decided. Vercelli said, no, man, no, I'm gonna stick it out with the boys. And then a bunch of time goes by, and then I was I literally logged onto Facebook, and the first thing that popped up was, boom, I can't believe I just got kicked out of my own band. And I was like, not even 1 minute, dude. I fucking was like, boom. Well, guess what? Now you're in misdemeanor.
You're in misdemeanor now.
And he's like,
sucker.
no, I don't know. And I was like, there is no, I don't know. I told you this was gonna fucking happen.
You
I
strong
planted
armed
the
him.
seeds. I did. I totally did. And the reason why is because I fucking love his energy.
Yeah, he's got a
dude.
cool vibe.
He's got a great history too. He's a fucking old school Dogtown Venice fucking
Oh,
punk,
yeah.
dude. Like
Nice.
he's fucking old school, bro. Like, you know what I mean? He's older than me. You know what I mean? So now I'm not the old dude in the band anymore. By the way, that's why you're in Virginia. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. He knows why he's in the band though, dude. Because I've been trying to get him to play, and he's a perfect fit. And he tripped out in the beginning because he's like, oh, I'm not gonna be good enough. I'm like, you're gonna know, and you're gonna realize really, really quick exactly why we play music.
Yeah.
And it's not because we want the attention. We're
Just
not
for
trying
fun.
to sell anything. We're not trying to be big rock stars. We're not trying to do anything. We're doing this because we're having fun. So when you fuck up, have fun with it. Fuck, who cares?
Yeah.
And all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? So that's and he stepped in, and fuck, dude, I'm telling you, I haven't been more happy with this band than I have been recently. We're just all grown up now, dude. I think, you know what I mean.
It's
And
matured into what you want it to be.
yeah, basically, and
Yeah.
then we got a new song out that's just fucking. It's a song that goes out to my kids, like fucking my teenage
Nice.
boys. If you guys are, anybody out there got teenage sons, man, it's the roughest job, bro. Like,
I can only imagine.
y-
I never
having-
will.
having kids, you're not into kids.
No, I'm not
No?
going to. No.
Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation. But
Yeah.
yeah, just not me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to bring this whole thing full circle, we'll do the last thought for the night. You brought up earlier that the very first show you ever went to was The Descendants.
Not
And-
first show I ever went to.
Or first punk show.
Yeah,
First punk
yeah.
show you ever went to.
Yeah.
And the next punk show that you're ever going to go to and play at is going to be...
The Descendants. Yeah.
How does that feel, man? That's fucking rad.
I'm like, is this real life? Like, I've been on
That's
cloud nine.
so
kinda,
cool.
And I want to fucking give a super fucking shout out and thanks to Josh,
Josh 86.
and yeah, that fucking guy calls me up, man, and he said that he suggested for us to do it, and I was like, bro, I really appreciate that. That's cool. I reached out, tried to put a bunch of press kits together.
Makes
and
the
all that
most
kind of stuff.
sense, for sure.
And we tried, and that's, what's funny is you can say that, and people have said that to me. You guys deserve it. You guys deserve it. I go, and I appreciate that, but we don't deserve shit, dude. We just do what we do, and we're who we are.
There you go.
And if we get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't. We're not gonna go bend over backwards and fucking smoke pole or kiss ass to do whatever the fuck we gotta do. We're happy with where we're at, but the appreciation is so there. So I hope Josh knows, that I really appreciate the mention, and then being able to make it all happen. He called me up the day after my daughter broke her arm and had to get surgery,
Oh,
and
shit.
he came on and he was like all melancholy, like, oh man, I just wanted to, and then he's like, I just want to lay your direct support for the Descendants. And I was like, I literally had to tell him, sorry, dude, I gotta fucking cry for a minute.
Hell yeah.
I was like, fucking, oh, wow, this has been an emotional roller coaster. And I was like, for me to come full circle and to be able to open up for a band, the band literally saved my life. we can get into that later. I have a feeling that I might be a guest on your podcast.
I think you will.
Or you might be a guest on my podcast.
I hope so.
Here coming around.
Yeah, and we're gonna, after this is done, we are gonna talk about getting you rolling.
for sure,
Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
But they saved my life, dude. So for the feeling that I have for them and the appreciation that I have for everybody who made it happen, so that we get to be there and be direct support is and side by side with Superfucked, who I love too as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's surreal. So April 19th,
Super cool.
April 19th, everybody show up at the Republic. Descendants, Superfucked, Misdemeanor. The vibe that I'm gonna come bring out there is gonna be something that you guys probably never. I mean, we're known for bringing it energy wise. That's just what we do. This is on a whole different level.
It's gonna be fun, man.
For me, it's a whole different level.
I'm super
man.
pumped.
I don't even. I probably throw up before the fucking show.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So do real fast. Just do a little. Tell people where they can find your band. Tell people where they can find you on social media.
Yeah. So social media, I'm Waren Hassett. You can check me out on Facebook. You have to ask for my friendship though, because I'm kind of like that.
Oh, same here.
I'm just kidding. But the band is Misdemeanor. You can check them out. That's a public profile on Facebook. And then Misdemeanor Music on Instagram. On Instagram, I'm the 808 Family Man. If you haven't figured it out already, I got a grip load of kids and a phenomenal wife. I've got a great family. It's a very, very interesting story that I have, and it's progressing. And if you guys want to join along with that, my Instagram profile is fully public, so you can come.
I'll do. I'll run little promos on there and
Right on.
put the little things.
Sweet,
Dude.
yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. I had a fucking blast. It's so awesome to finally fucking have a conversation with you.
Cheers, brother.